Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Vindman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I want to pass on my condolences to you, the entire UCOM family, and the families of the fallen 4 dog-faced soldiers from 3rd ID. That's a tremendous loss. Next, I want to say, as a retired Army officer myself, I want to congratulate you on your upcoming retirement and recommend avoiding electoral politics if you want peace and quiet. Right now, our adversaries are challenging the United States' interests around the globe, and Russia's continued illegal war in Ukraine is far from over. In your written testimony, you focused on the chronic threat that Russia poses to the United States and the importance of land deterrence. And it's been a really persistent threat for decades now, in one iteration or another, from the Soviet Union to the present. General Cavoli, how many troops do we need in Europe to deter Russia at its current end strength?
Sir, our current capacity is deterring Russia right now. Of course, the answer to that question always depends on where Russia goes in the future, right? How do they configure themselves? Where do they place themselves? What are their intentions? For what we're doing right now, it's obviously working, but they're quite occupied elsewhere. I would point out, I wouldn't measure it also strictly by end strength, the numbers of human beings. It really comes down to what capabilities are we able to bring to bear, how quickly, and how does that nest in to the alliance's efforts, which are evolving and increasing. So over time, I would expect our contribution to drop. It's going to take some time, however.
So I want to address the issue that my colleague from Louisiana just discussed, and kind of part of what victory looks like is a free and sovereign and secure Ukraine. Right? And so far that has come at no cost in American lives as far as uniformed service members, although there have been obviously many volunteers that have gone over and felt the need was great and sacrificed tremendously. In the context of my definition and kind of how you see victory, is victory for Ukraine possible?
Congressman, not losing is definitely possible, and I think that's the first step.
So if we're talking about a free, secure, sovereign Ukraine, the actions that we've taken so far, I mean, they've not lost yet, but how do we take it to the next level? If we want to get a meaningful peace that provides for a free, sovereign, secure Ukraine, what do we need to do in addition to what we've done so far?
Well, I think there's a military contribution to that, sir, of course, but I think that the principal questions would probably be outside of my lane.
Well, I'm talking in your purview, and briefly, obviously, do we need to provide them more stuff?
We need to continue to provide them the defensive mechanisms to prevent the heinous attacks that we've
Provide
seen.
more intelligence?
Intelligence, air defense weapon systems, and then artillery systems and ammunition. Those are always the important things that they need.
Those will pressure Russia to come to the negotiating table in a more balanced fashion to achieve the victory that I described, which is a free, secure, and sovereign Ukraine.
Those could be a contributor to that effort.
Okay. I want to transition a little bit and talk about, you mentioned your relationships going back decades with your counterparts in different COCOMs, General Carrillo, for instance. There are other relationships that, for instance, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I'm sure you've known him, you worked with him, you closely coordinate with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, with the functional combatant commanders like Cybercom, with the senior advisor to NATO. Those folks have all been fired in the last couple of months. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so have you ever seen this type of sort of chaos or sort of lack of coordination in your 38 years? Have you ever had to deal with that kind of shuffling of personnel that are your counterparts that help enable your mission?
I have had to deal with shufflings and things like that before, yes, sir.
Gentleman's time